It's funny when I sit down to make these videos, I don't even know what it is. I just have a moment. There's always a moment where I guess the higher purpose of things just sort of kicks in and you have a little chuckle, and so be it, I suppose. I wanted to make this video because I had a nice moment, a little sort of a deja vu kind of moment this morning. I had a couple come around to my house here. I was stopped the other day in the street by an elderly gentleman, and who was looking at my truck and reading all the stuff on my truck, and he read the hashtag "inner peace is mental health," and that's my own hashtag that I've started for Course in Miracles stuff. And he asked me, he said, "What are you, some kind of mental health person?" And it's very hard, I guess, to discern from reading my truck because it's so eclectic with different things from different cultures and spiritual learnings all over it. And I said to him, yeah, I just deal with mental health. It's just an easy way to sort of bridge the gap between, Anyway, he told me that his wife was had been having issues for the last 6 years, had been in a terrible state. And we made an arrangement for him to bring his wife here today. And they turned up, and she was very shattered as far as emotionally destroyed goes. Emotionally, and I have to say destroyed because I haven't seen anybody in such a condition for quite a while. And I say that laughing because I'm reflecting on my own history of being in such kind of shattered mental conditions. It's like, oh my God. You tend to forget how deep the rabbit hole of, let's call it mental health, how deep that goes. And it's like, oh man, my heart immediately opened up to this woman, and with the understanding that here is my true self, this is my dear self. It's not another person going through stuff. It's an old reflection of mine, right? And in that, I accepted atonement for myself. But in the ensuing back and forth that we had, obviously, when she left here, there was a big smile on her face and a hug, and there's a whole new thing going on. But during the discourse that we had, I had a very profound moment of recognition, and you'll get this when you're doing the course. Jesus talks about it as you remember the script, of remembering this couple. I remember them sitting on my couch. I remember them in my story, right? And so you can call that deja vu, like, oh, I've been here and done this before, but deja vu is really that you are remembering the script that was written before you came here and the people that are meant to come in here. And the only reason that it seems that separation seems to be credible and you seem to find yourself in the situation you do is because you don't remember the script. If you could remember the storyline, you'd be sitting here going, 3, 2, 1, there's going to be a knock on the door. And the lottery numbers for, 21, 20, And it wouldn't seem very realistic. It wouldn't seem convincing. But of course, when you've had enough of it and you start to turn your life to God and you turn around, you have these moments. And I mean, people have deja vu moments all the time, but they often mistake them for thinking, oh, it's just something that I've been here and done this before. Well, yes, you have in a certain sense, because let's just say that heaven's up in the clouds. It isn't, but let's just say that you're sitting up there in the clouds writing your story. You've got all of eternity. I'm going to write the best story for Earth. When I get to Earth, this is going to be a beauty, and you play that part, and you be that person, and you do that. And of course, you don't know what the story is you're writing. You don't know that it's going to seem so realistic. And people go through a hell of a lot of crap because of the story. And so this woman is a person in my story that I have to accept atonement for, as a figure in my dream, as someone who's come to play a part for me to help me remember the truth of myself and herself inclusive as being the one self, right? But to do that, first you have to deal with the presentation of the narrative, the presentation of the dream, of the story that's being presented. In order, you have to accept that fully in order to be able to do the editing, if you like, or the healing. In the idea of accepting atonement for oneself, finger on the nose, what you're doing is taking responsibility for that person's suffering, as I am the dreamer of my dream and this person's a figure in my dream telling me their struggles and their suffering. I'm going to refuse, right? I'm going to allow for the story. I'm going to accept the story as it is, but I'm going to refuse to believe that it's the truth of that person, because I want the truth of that person and my truth to be identical, because there is only a single truth. And I'm going to offer the story that I'm accepting, because I'm accepting at one-ment with this person, inclusive of what presents on the lower order, the story, right? I offer that to the Holy Spirit, to the higher order, who does the editing for me. And in that, something I get the download, or you get the internal guidance, and it comes through you, and you say what needs to be said. And the result is always a shift in consciousness, just sometimes only tiny. But this person came in with tears in their eyes, red eyes, had been crying the whole thing, and when they left, there was a slight happiness in the cheeks, and, you could see the light had come back, and it was quite beautiful. But I remembered them. They were sitting on my couch, and all of a sudden, bing, there it was. It popped into my mind. It's like, these are those people I've been in, which brings me to the point of this video, that you're never in the wrong place and you're never at the wrong time, right? Now, I had previously, a few people have said to me, which is representing my doubt, a few people have said to me, how come you moved to Glen Innes? It's a long way from your family and friends. It's a long way from whatever you know, and it's freezing in the winter, and it's this and it's that and it's the other. And all I could ever say was, I don't know why. I just know that I have to go there. I just knew it inside. I have to be there. Maybe it was for that couple on the couch. And like the butterfly effect, maybe whatever transpired between us today, sitting here having our moment of healing, is going to have a bigger ripple effect down the track that is necessary in salvation. I mean, it cannot not be that way, because God is the doer of all things, and there is never a coincidence and never an accident, never anything, despite that I can see it the other way around if I want to, right? But the fact that I can and that I might still want to only implies that I still need more healing, because it's absolutely pointless to try and force a narrative that there is somehow some possibility that something can be separate from God, or God can fuck up and make mistakes. If God is everything, what would it make mistakes with? Itself? Anyway, so I thought that was nice, and it was confirmation. Not that I need confirmation. I mean, I know I'm meant to be here, but it was confirmation, and it's like, okay. And to all of you who have had some concerns about why I'm moving here and why I'm sitting here, now you can put your hearts and minds to rest and just trust that God's will is done, and that all things have come to pass exactly as they are meant to and exactly as they will. If you're still sitting there going, well, how come this happened? If God is love, how come this happened? And how come I had to go through that particular thing? It's because you will go through all those particular things until you give inner peace and unconditional love your total value, because God, being everything, is one finger, is one total value. You can't serve God and the world. You can't say, I love God, I want to serve God through Christ, whatever, and still want to serve something else. You see how that works? And the process of healing is cleaning up where it is we suddenly discover, oh shit, I'm serving something else as well. I'm trying to serve two masters. You know? And sometimes that's a total collapse of identity and completely horrific to the sense of self. And sometimes, which is good, and sometimes that's joyous. You'd be like, oh, thank God I found that. Because that is only ever a lesson that's coming around like to bite you in the bum again the next time and the next time and the next time and the next time until it gets so intolerable and you get so fed up with resisting it that you turn to alcohol or something, you know. So relax as I am relaxed. Be at peace as I am at peace. God is in charge, not me, not you. Let go and let God. Keep it simple, stupid. All of those lovely, not acronyms, what are they called? Platitudes that we have regarding spiritual recovery or spiritual well-being, whatever you want. You know, like some of the most beneficial programs in the world today that offer a true spiritual bearing are recovery programs, AA, NA, and the Bridge program or the LEAP I think it's called the LEAP program, actually, offered by the Salvation Army, or the Bridge program. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, all of those. And Attitudinal Healing by Jerry Jampolsky, you know, another beautiful program, more for younger people. But relax. If you're stressed about the world, about the way it is, turn off the television. Stop doing that to yourself. There are people that can handle all that stuff. It is the will of God. If you choose and you decide to turn off the television, that is the will of God, because if God is everything, that also includes you, and that's going to be a sticking point for you because you're going to have to include your own presence in the world as part of the manifestation of God mind appearing in form. Albeit illusory, albeit fake, albeit false, albeit a giant, what would you call it? Not really an algorithm, but kind of like an algorithm. We've got an idea of separation and then an anti-separation, or a dream of separation and then an anti-dream, or a dream that heals. We've got a chaotic dream and a healing dream. But it's still a dream, you know? The black fellas in this country who go back 30,000, 40,000 years with all their technology of spiritual process handed down from father to son. It's a man's thing. The women's thing is separate, but the men's thing, they do the corroborees and hand down the sacred knowledge, and they hand down the knowledge of the dream time, you know. And I believe the women have the knowledge of the dream time as well, but for some reason there's a separate men's and women's business and men's and women's knowledge, but they all together understand they're walking in a dream, and the dream is already over. All of their stories begin with long ago in the dream time. Long ago in the dream time. Understanding then that this is already over. The script is already written, and I'm simply reviewing something that has already gone by. It's like a very, very advanced futuristic version of writing a film, and then you film it, and then you sit back and you watch it after, and you know the bits that are coming up. It's like, oh, this next scene's going to be a good one, watch this. And you, in the futuristic version of it, you can interact with it and get the results of it and prolong the storyline by doing so. The less you interact with it, you shorten the storyline by doing so. But you can't just transcend it and say, well, that's it, bugger it, I'm just going to sit here on a rock and not interact at all. Because you take your mind with you wherever you go, and the script in its entirety is firmly placed within your mind somewhere, and you need to atone for it. Doing that physically out in the physical world, meeting one person at a time and offering forgiveness through acceptance of your own forgiveness for the part they're playing for you, is going to take you in an inexorably, rented lips, long time. Hundreds of millions of years. Hundreds of thousands of millions of years. But to do it in your mind's eye, to do it all here as one idea of separation from God, if you want that. And I tell you, I've met a lot of people that tell me that they want it, and they stamp their foot and they say, I want to remember my Creator. I want to remember the source of the universe and all living things. But it's not until you want to remember that and only that, and also knowing that you're probably kidding yourself about it. I only want to remember my Father. I want to give up the world, forgive myself of the world, and remember only the creative source of all things as it is. Well, that's a nice concept you've got going there, but is it true? Everybody thinks they like to say yes to God, and then there's always a but. I want to serve only God, but I would like for something, something, something. And there's always this kind of thing, it's always the way, which is why we have this process of healing called the Course in Miracles, where you can begin to uncover your buts one at a time, or perhaps all together if they're all sort of coagulated into one association. But generally they tend to be spread out amongst the many myriad relationships that you have. Some of them are very likewise or very alike to each other in frequency, and others that have frequencies perhaps of which you're not even aware of yet. Depths of representing parts of your egoic makeup, your human condition, that you have until now perhaps been unaware are even there, and even if you were aware they were there, you wouldn't even want to look at. It gets pretty heavy going when you get to the bottom of the rabbit hole. I sometimes tell people, if you want to know the true nature of your own being, go and sit in the zoo and watch the monkeys for half a day. Spend 3 or 4 hours and watch the monkeys, eating their own shit and masturbating each other and doing all this like horrific kind of, what we would consider horrific kind of base behavior, which comes from a base mentality. Not that monkeys have a base mentality, they're just being monkeys. But human beings like to give themselves rules and conditions and etiquette and social standards because they like to see themselves above the monkeys. But I remember a very clear example that we're not much further above the monkeys when where the Hurricane Katrina went through and everybody was in that football stadium and the lights and the power went out for a couple of days. People were getting raped and bashed and people reverting to true type. People are reverting to their true animal psychology. And some people walk the streets not far from it today anyway. Which is why people that are far from it or see themselves far from it set up gated communities. As if you can keep your own thoughts, the effects of your own thoughts, separate from yourselves with an iron gate. If it doesn't get in through the iron gate, it'll get in another way. Trust me, it will. You'll give yourself cancer. If it's not a house burglary, it'll be a cancer. Or if it's not a cancer, it'll be something. Right? Your karma is your karma, and it will find, it's like water. It finds the easiest way down to the sea. And the lessons that the universe are presenting you, despite how much you might want to resist them and build iron gates against them, they're there to be learned. The sooner you learn them, the less iron gates you're going to have to keep building for yourself in one form or another. Social, physical, imaginary, or otherwise. And it's kind of funny that I'm using that in my storyline here today on that video, the Iron Gate, because I've got in this house, I'm going to have my studio, my art studio out the back, which is going to be called Narrow Gate Studio. And I want a little iron gate, a very narrow little iron gate in the front yard for people to come through, something that's almost ridiculously narrow that if you're a bigger person, you're going to have to squeeze a bit. But it's the narrow gate comes from, obviously, Jesus' teaching in the New Testament, enter ye in at the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and easy is the path that leads to destruction. Many people are found there. He doesn't mess around with his words, old Jesus. He's like, yep, everybody's going the easy way. It's the big gate. It's like plenty of room, come on, you know. But the narrow gate and the steep path, it's like, oh my God, who wants to take that way? It's a tough teaching. It is a tough teaching. Giving up the world and following me is a tough teaching. It's like almost, well, it basically is the teaching of being an ascetic or a mystic or a recluse or a hermit, or in a mental sense. You're giving up the world. You're becoming in the world, but not of the world. This is the true following of, following Jesus Christ. It's what he's telling you. The world is not your home. In the Course in Miracles, he says, look, it's all forgiven. Just clean up your act there, and then just come on home. Pay your debts. Let's get out of here. It sounds so simple when he says it like that. But the resistance to hearing it is the first thing. The first thing that you've got to come across, or the first obstacle, is realizing you don't want that. I have all this resistance. Why do I have all this resistance to a simple idea of inner peace? It's because I love it when I get to be right about something. I love it when I get to say, I told you so. All of these sorts of things. I love it when I get to have the last word. I remember that one being a particular thing in a little relationship I had with Josie. We were off and on about 6 or 7 times. She kept kicking me out of the house in a period of about 12 to 18 months. And then we'd always get back together over coffee. I had always accepted the premise that we were together for a spiritual reason. She was nearly 20 years my senior. But she, I don't want to project here, but I'm pretty sure she sort of had other ideas about that. Let's just leave it that way. But it was funny. That was the premise upon which that relationship flourished. Anyway, you got to have fun with your spiritual. You got to see how crazy it all is. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. The whole point of all of this is like realizing, oh, this is just a dream. And I guess if you were to look back, I don't know about modern generations. I don't know do mothers still sing nursery rhymes to their babies? I remember my mother singing me the one, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And then of course you grow up and you forget. What was that thing Mum used to always sing to me? Life is but a dream. So imagine if you could take it on board when you're young. Oh, life is but a dream. I'm not going to take it seriously if it's just a dream. I'm going to have fun with it. But of course you forget, and that forgetting is synonymous with the forgetting, into eternity, where all is one crypto-tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh, ACIM. And it's synonymous with that forgetting. Every time someone tells you, an Aboriginal fella can tell you, hey, it's just a dream time, don't take it so seriously, or your mother can sing you, and it's like, oh yeah, and it doesn't really click, because it seems preposterous that this is a dream, because dreams are things we have at night. But imagine if this is a dream within a dream, and my dreams at night are dreams within the dreaming of my greater dream that I'm having, which is a dream in the mind of God's Son, which is a dream in the mind of God. It's like Inception, that movie, boom, boom, there's 3 or 4 levels to the dreaming. And here we are, we're at the bottom level. This is the journey of the soul. It's like damn, this is some tricksy dreaming, you know. But when you take it seriously, it's like, idiot Dave telling me it's just a dream. Stupid man on YouTube. Well, how's it working out for you? Not laughing at yourself. You know, you have to ask these questions. When's the last time I really had a good laugh? When is the last time I just had a good laugh for no real reason other than that I'm looking at myself, wondering what the fuck I thought when I made a decision to abandon God, let's say, or leave eternity, or dream of leaving eternity, or being separate from God, or trying to usurp the throne of God. It's a great word, usurp. I want to kick God off the throne. I'll be God, and look, here I am in my world, where everything dies, gets sick and old, and eventually you just stop and you're like, what the hell's going on here? So I've had a few people, this is just a side, I mean, the last few videos I've made seem more like friendly kind of fireside chat rather than information. And I think that's to do with the shift in consciousness that I had in the playing out of the physical shift in location with the same purpose coming here. Things seem a lot less formal these days, which is good. I think I've made enough videos for you guys that there's a whole library of stuff there. And I know I've mentioned this before, that you can be about watching. Get yourself a copy of A Course in Miracles. Join our Zoom group. I mean, Tyna loves having all you guys at the Zoom group, and we go for a Zoom once a week. And it's like boot camp in the Zoom, but then it goes for a couple of hours, and then Tyna gets stuck in the Zoom after I leave. She gets stuck in the Zoom for 2, 3, 4 hours afterwards with all the new guys going through all the basics again, which is what she needs to hear. I remember she asked me some years ago now if I would be her teacher. Like, actually, she asked me formally if I would be her teacher. And I've had a few people ask me over the years, but something inside me said to say yes to her. And I said, but only if you include in the cast and characters of your entire dream, because as I receive by giving, she also must receive by giving, and it's like the chain of atonement carries on like that. What the people in the Zoom meeting do with the information they get, I have no clue. Some guys in the Zoom meetings actually write to me and ask me for little assignments and things, and ask me for things to help push their buttons and whatever. And sometimes I'll pick it out in the Zoom meeting. I'll be like, hey, I can tell you need to do something, finger on my nose first, of course. But you get these kind of insights. You know, it wouldn't be much of a enlightenment if all of a sudden you didn't have any kind of insights regarding the nature of spiritual participation across the board, personally and intrapersonally, because the relationship is one whole relationship, and you're being shown the nature of the dynamic of that relationship through every interaction you have with everybody. You know, I often have people say to me, how did you know that? How did you know what I was going through? How did you know that this person is being this way to me? How did you know, da da da? Like, it's literally written on your face. A person's story is written on their face. There's certain things you can just, sometimes, you know, like, it's just funny. How did you know? But I laughed too, because there was a point in time where I didn't know how. You know, my teacher used to have these incredible insights and foresights into things, and I would be like, how the hell did he know that? And it took some integration of the principles of grounding the experience I had had in that we are all one mind, and only minds communicate, to learn to uh, to learn to uh, oh that was different. To learn to open my mind like that, to participate in that universal guidance, that universal dialogue that's going on without words, which automatically transfers to what some people call the secret knowledge, or the hidden communication that goes on behind the scenes of all living things. It's what enlightenment's about. What good would it be to achieve enlightenment and be no use to anybody in an enlightened way? But it very much depends on the student. It very much depends on the person, how bright they are or how stupid they are, or how much they value their teaching, or whether they're not really giving it any value at all, you know. And you can convince yourself that you're giving things an incredible value when you're really not. I am trying. I like Yoda. Do or don't do, there is no try. That's the attitude you've got to adopt. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, I suppose, but I did want to make this video only particularly about all things are perfect. Whoever shows up is meant to show up, and whatever's meant to happen is meant to happen. You're never in the wrong place at the wrong time. Impossible. It's impossible, because God is everything and you are part of that. There is not something else whereby you could not be part of that and therefore be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're meant to be right where you are today. If you don't want to be right where you are today, just make sure you're not trying to avoid a lesson. Otherwise, if you move, so be it. That'll be where you're meant to be as well. But the lesson's going to repeat until it's learned in another form, perhaps. And that'll be perfect too. Eventually, what you're learning is that don't adjust. Just be still. You may as well let the whole thing happen here and now. You may as well let the entire collapse of your human thought system, the entire collapse of the self-identity occur in the present moment. And have an experience of your true self. It's going to happen eventually, but why not participate? Why not learn to participate with the resurrection, which you are already living in, whether you're aware of it or not? You are living in the time of the resurrection. The time of the prophets is long gone. This is now the plan of the teachers, who are here to usher in the formal educational component of the resurrection, which is the mind training for man, for his benefit, to help him participate in his own salvation in a greater way for the glory of God. So in the time of suffering for everybody, across the board. Now, if you've got you've got something better to participate in than that, I'm all ears. This is funny stuff. Funny. All right, I love you guys, and thank you. I did a video 2 days ago. Tyna's sitting on it trying to hatch a golden egg with the YouTube algorithm, and so this one probably won't get out for a few days because she gets a little bit bossy at me not to make them public straight away. But sometimes I just ignore it. It's like I feel like it's got to go straight away. But if you can, leave a comment, she would love it. I don't care. I don't care about anything. I've no attachment to anything. I'm quite happy to pull the pin on anything at any given time. You know, it's like, you ever seen those Buddhist monks and they spend days and days making those beautiful mandalas and then they just wreck them at the end? You have to wreck it at the end because it's tradition to wreck it at the end. Too bad if you have an attachment to it. You'll see that you have an attachment after you wreck it. You'll be like, oh, you'll feel it in your chest and in your gut. You'll be like, I didn't want to wreck it. But I have to because it's tradition. Funny. It is the way. All right, peace. I like to take the mickey out of religion's bit here and there, but it's all funny, isn't it? And take the piss out of myself. Dave the slow learner. Row, row, row your boat. I think I was only this big. It's taken me 60 years. Bye.